now the next thing I want to cover, something technical, but yet easy, not like all the other stuff that I've been doing where it requires really working, like on the car. This thing I could do it on the bench. So this is going to be a nice easygoing project. And basically this is the heater controls for the Nova. And so it gets removed from the car when you're taking apart the dashboard. And you got to change everything over to electronic for it to control the servo motors on the unit. And this is pretty cool. The good thing about it is that this booklet is pretty straightforward. It tells you exactly where to cut each of these little plastic things, how many holes to go, and I looked through the book already and it is very straightforward. Down to the calibration is pretty simple. So I'm going to be tackling that today. And the first thing I needed to do was pop off the little knobs that are in the front here. These little guys. And these were really difficult to get off. So after popping them off, I just used a screwdriver and I just popped them off. You got to take off these clips that hold the plastic to the face. Basically, these were the controls. So you see, and all it is a piece of plastic, and then with a black back. And Vintage Air, they give you a new one, and I'm very happy with the new one because this one's all wrinkled, you can see. So definitely showing its age. So that's one of the first things I had to do is pop it off. And now I get to work on putting the electronic portions in place of all of these cables. So I'm hoping that I can show you all the little things that I have to do. That way you see the process. So I'm going to start on that right now. Basically the first thing I'm going to do is cut these to size, and then remove all of these cables, remove the switch that controlled the old fan, and then put all these in the place of the cables. So I'm going to take care of that. Okay, so I mounted the 3 electronic, I guess, potentiometers onto the unit, onto this, onto the stock bracketry, and it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you just have to make sure that when this arm is at this closed position, that it's actually flush up against the plastic, and that's with all of them. So you'd have to move the arms back and forth to ensure that they're flush. So you see that one's flush, and where's the other one? The other one's on the other side. And basically that one's harder to see. Where is it? So basically, yeah, it's harder to see, but it's on the, there it is. See, there it is. So basically it's flush when it's in this closed position, and that's the 3. For the 3 you have to do that. And so I'm going to put some lithium grease on the actual rod. Let's see if this one's it. Yeah, because as you can see that it kind of, because it's a curve, you have a little bit of friction. So I'm going to go ahead and put some white lithium grease on there just so that I can have mobility, and there's no plastic against plastic constant movement. So that's what I'm going to do there. And then you have to connect these wires on there and attach it to the potentiometers using just these ties. And the good thing is that all the wires look the same, but they all have one white wire that has a different color. So this one has white and yellow, this one white and red, this one white and blue. And one of these, I guess, is not used because I only see 3 potentiometers on this particular unit, so one of them I won't be using. And basically you just attach them to the end, tie it to the potentiometer, and then basically tie the whole rest of the unit as far as the wire bundle onto the actual bracketry. So I'm going to do that right now and get some lithium grease on there, and then I'll come back. So here it is. I got the wires on there, and they want you to tie the wires very tightly around the very end so that it doesn't move. So I did just that, made sure that it was in there, and I routed the wires so that way they go in between all the units so that it's a nice clean routing to the bracket that's on the side here. There's this bracket here, and I wanted the wires nicely tighted, and this one that's not used has to be tightly secured so it doesn't get in the way of all that. So I made sure that it was all the way on the top, away from all the adjusting mechanisms. And then I had my own wire ties, so I just added another one to make sure that it was nice and tight. And that's pretty much it. Now it's all nice and tight, and I got the wire bundle ready. And the last thing you got to do is, they want you to do this first, but because I knew I was going to be fiddling around with it, I didn't want to scratch the new plate. So this is the last thing you got to put on there. I just basically put the original plate on and taped it on, because it's almost the same as far as the instructions. Instead of dash, it says off. Over here it still says defrost. On the bottom it still says hot. And on the bottom here, instead of on, it says high. So it's pretty much the same. And so I didn't want to give it a scratch. And all the adjusting mechanisms, I put some lithium grease on the plastic. Anything that moves, I put lithium grease. So I'm going to put the plate on, and I think that's about it. We'll have to see in a few moments after I finish reading the rest of the instruction manual. Make sure that that's the last step. Well, here it is, finished up. I put the plate on, and I put the little knobs back on and gave them a little bit of a polish, so you can see it's nice and shiny. I like the way that came out. Polished up the chrome. Since everything else is new, might as well make the little knobs new. So the unit is pretty much finished, and there's only one more step, and that is calibration. But that's not done until I connect it into the unit itself, and everything is pretty much finalized. And the way to do that is, the kit comes with this wire, and this is just basically a ground wire. You attach it to chassis, ground, and then the other end gets plugged in to the main wiring harness where these two relays are. There's a little wire that's sticking out that has nothing attached to it. Basically this wire gets attached to the white one, which is ground, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to set the upper limit and lower limit of the potentiometers, which those are potentiometers. And basically what the computer will learn is what is the very high and what is the very low, so that when you're adjusting this, it will know or adjust according to where this is positioned. So if this is high and this is very low, then anywhere in here would be in between. So, you know, because it's a potentiometer, you'll be able to fully adjust where the servo motors will be positioned at as you move this lever up or down. So that's what that's for, and that's the calibration process, but once everything is finalized. So that's the last piece of the puzzle, and I will do that at the very end. But very easy, very calm and soothing project that I just took on. I was able to do it sitting down for the entire process, and I'm happy that I got this part done. I thought this was going to be a hassle, but it was actually very easy because the kit's instructions were very, very detailed. I mean, from cutting, where are the little plastics? I don't know where I put the little plastics, but from cutting these exactly where they need to be cut, down to where you want to route, where to route the wiring, everything. it was just pretty much self-explanatory. So this came out to be an easy project. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.